Hello, everybody. Welcome to NUFC Talk TV. And we have to talk about the Man City winning the court case against, the Premier League, and what that means for us. Can we spend anything that we want? What is it that we can do? How does this benefit Newcastle United? Well, essentially, it means that the Premier League's rules were illegal, were not found it to be fair for, in this case, Man City. And it benefits us because we can do basically it's the same thing as Man City did. And how is it fair that a team that owns no that doesn't owe any money to anybody, like Man City, like Newcastle United, like all these clubs, why can't they get sponsorship deals from any other sponsor, even if they are owned? These companies are owned by the same empire, basically, of the ones that own these clubs. Why does it? Why do the two correlate? They're two different companies. If it's legal, if it's not inflated money or money that's not there or laundering, money laundering. If it's not illegal, then why do we have to implement a rule? By the way, I don't know if you noticed, and we're going to talk about that on Thursday night show. These rules were invented and created as soon as the takeover happened for Newcastle United, and it was clearly and evident that they made these rules to stop Newcastle United potentially becoming another Man City, another Chelsea. Nobody talks about Chelsea anymore. Maybe because the money and the owners that were in charge of the takeover for Chelsea weren't from Saudi Arabia, weren't from Qatar, weren't from Dubai, basically weren't Middle Eastern. There's a big debate about sports washing and all that nonsense, which is unbelievable to me. But yes, the Premier League did come up with these rules to stop Newcastle United. That is evident now more than ever. There was clearly something against Newcastle. And how come all these other clubs, that owe money, like Arsenal, like Manchester United, like Everton, how come all these other clubs, they get to be free and they get to do whatever they want? How come that works for them when they owe money to everybody else? And a lot of money, actually. Now, I was listening to Kieran Maguire, and he says that this is obviously going to benefit not only Manchester City, but clubs like Newcastle United, like Aston Villa. It's going to benefit other clubs as well, and not just the red cartel that we all know and have accustomed to. That this means that we now can go and spend whatever we want and just do whatever. I don't think it works that way. I don't think that we can just go immediately right now and sign $100 million, $200 million sponsorship. But I think that it is working, is going towards that way later on. I think that Newcastle United are still just spectating and seeing what is actually written that you can do. It looks like it will happen anyway. It looks like we will be able to sponsor things like Aramco might be able to sponsor the new stadium or the current one. Whatever we decide to do there, I believe that we're going to get a new stadium nonetheless. But it could happen that Aramco could put the name on the stadium, give us a lot of money for it. Although Saudi Arabia owned Aramco, it's still another company. It's still a company, another entity. We like to look at this as if the Prince of Saudi Arabia is the one saying, "Hey, you need to give money to Newcastle United," and just we make it an individual thing. These are big corporations, big companies that handle billions and billions and billions of pounds of dollars. So they have people in charge in those particular companies, and they might see fit that they have a football club, and they could invest in it because it's in the Premier League, because it competes with other clubs like Manchester United, like Manchester City, like Arsenal, that also carry a lot of attention, as well as Newcastle United, of course, and that maybe the team will compete for the majority of times in Champions League in Europe, and so it's not a bad idea. And why wouldn't you invest in your own club? Why is it that we get these roadblocks on the way because it's Newcastle United? You can clearly see on those leaked emails that Newcastle is named in those emails. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes forward after this. We don't know exactly all the details, but we'll definitely have a lot of information on Thursday night with Man City fans coming on the show so we can discuss all things uh, so we can discuss all of this and be able to inform people on what's going on. At this point in time, excited for what could happen later on, what could happen when it comes to Newcastle United, any sponsorships, and that is going to benefit us obviously on the football side of things, because the more money comes in, the more we can spend on proper players and not just players to fill in the gaps. So really good stuff coming. We'll see how that develops, and we'll see what else can happen. By the way, this has nothing to do, listening to Karen McGuire, expert on football finances, this has nothing to do with the 115 charges that Man City have been charged with. So nothing to do with that. But this is a big step forward, and hopefully the Premier League will change the rules immediately, because that's certainly what it looks like they need to do anyway. We're gonna do later on Thursday night and see what else comes up from this. From now, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you on the next one, folks. Bye bye.